Is council in accordance with Deputy Chief Species instruction? You say you could not cancel because the deployments were improper. Did I hear you say that?
Yes, Commissioner, you're saying it. Maybe if I'm allowed to proceed, because I've already.
I just want to hear just on this one statement. Did you say that or not?
I said it, Commissioner.
You said it.
Yes.
Would the impropriety not actually be the very reason on which you would cancel? Something went wrong here. This was an improper deployment, so let's kill it now. Let's cancel. Would that not be the logical thing to do, or not?
It would be logical if we were responsible, right, for the deployment of this. Otherwise, I mean, actually, in fact, instead of Commissioner Spies instructing me to cancel this, he should have gone through this and direct.
Maybe let me ask the question differently. Had everything been done properly, would it have been within your remit to cancel?
If everything
had been done properly, but now there was a need to cancel, would it have been within your remit to cancel? Would it?
If everything was done,
would you have had the power to cancel if the need to cancel arose?
I would have advised the department responsible, right, to cancel, because if everything was done properly, right, it wouldn't have reached a point where there is actually an issue whether they must be cancelled or not. But in this instance, right,
let me now, according to you, everything had been done improperly. Why not advise the department concerned to cancel exactly because everything had been done improperly? If you could advise when everything had been done properly, why not also advise if something had been done improperly? I want to understand your reasoning.
Okay. By the way, I made a mention of the fact that at the point when Ms. Spies was giving me this instruction, right, this matter was receiving attention at a higher level. And the level at which Mr. Spies was sitting, right? So I looked at, my apologies, I looked at his approach and I realized, I convinced myself, I'm still convinced, he wanted to throw me under the bus. I'm saying this because...
By saying cancel.
Because...
Why would you get under the bus if someone says...
No, he wanted...
Just a minute. If according to you,
yes,
there was something wrong, why would it take you under the bus if you simply cancelled? Aren't you actually assisting your employer, the city, if you cancel something that was done improperly?
In the context of his instruction, he said, cancel all ad hoc services, right? Hence, in my earlier submission before the commission, right, before even going into the system and confirming and all of that, I said, right, it wouldn't have been possible to cancel all of them because not all of them were having the same problem.
Did you cancel any? Did you cancel any then?
At that point in time, no, I did not.
Weren't some, even according to what you've just said, weren't some done improperly?
Commissioner, let me say this.
Just answer the question directly. Were some not done improperly according to you?
I'm not aware of some that were not done properly.
You've just said not all of them had been done improperly.
Yes.
Implicit in that is that some had been done improperly. That's how I understand what you are saying.
No, maybe
now, if you say that, the implication being that there was nothing the matter with some. So my question is, why not cancel those that you had no problem with, or those that you are not saying there was any impropriety with regard to them? Why not cancel those?
The instruction, Commissioner, was cancel all. And I knew it was not all of them, it was Kubis. And this Kubis, I could not have it cancelled because it was not instructed by me to deploy. In actual fact, let me put the record straight. Commissioner, this instruction was
It was exactly because of this reference to who the instruction came from that right at the beginning I asked you, would it have been within your power to cancel? Would it have been within your remit to cancel?
Yes. Hence I wanted...
So now, and I asked that exactly because you keep saying you are not the one who gave the instruction. You may not have given the instruction, but if you have the power to cancel, you could and should have cancelled, regardless of whether or not you gave the instruction. So the antecedent question is the question I asked earlier, which is, did you have the power to cancel?
I said...
Did you or did you not?
No, in this respect, I did not have the power to cancel.
You did not have the power to cancel?
Yes.
Okay, but anyway, Mr. Skakane, I think we've been derailed because I think what the focus of the testimony at this stage, if I'm not mistaken, is about the inception,
yes,
the start of all this, and not the tail end, which is the cancellation. Am I mistaken?
Chair,
I may be mistaken. Okay. But I thought we at this stage the focus. I'm not saying it was not to get here at some point, but I thought at this stage it's about the inception or the beginning
of the. Yes, I suppose what we went through was we got caught up in the issue of the discussion around the quantum and what was supposed to happen. But I'll let Mr. Director Malatje to continue. Safe to just pick on one issue, maybe one question, and then I'll let him continue. Director Malatje, as I understand it, we have to deal with the evidence as we see it. And it does not appear at any point in the evidence, and the one that you've supplemented with, that you either responded directly to Commissioner Spies or anyone about the termination of ad hoc service. Would I be correct or there is?
He said he responded, but when I asked the director to take us to the documents showing his response, he said he does not have them here.
Yes. So, however, they do exist.
Come again?
I'm saying they do exist. You did.
Yes. To the first email, right? Fund transfer, please provide address where have been developed. My memory serves me well. It is not part of this bundle, all right? We did respond to this one. Okay. In terms of where ad hocs are deployed and whatever the case may be.
Okay, that's fine. Please proceed with your statement. I'll ask my question later on. You had paragraph 5 of your statement. You were taking us through those annexes.
My statement, you said it's page 34. Oh, okay. All right. Yes, we were on paragraph 4. I think we've deliberated much on emails and communications detailing executive discussions. Number 2, email response to Nandule regarding his complaint that 13 requisitions were created without invoices. In this case, I made a follow-up with my team, and they responded to Director Nandule about these 13 requisitions, and they went as far as saying to me, in their view, they couldn't create these requisitions without attaching emails. As I wanted to know how this process works, they said they do not have a function that they use, that is used, right, to create purchase requisitions without emails. I mean, without invoices. But it is Director Nandule staff who have got that function on the subsystem. And they went further to say, when they inquired, later when they made a follow-up with Director Nandule's office, it came to light that those requisitions were eventually cancelled, right, on the system. But since I'm not familiar with the subsystem and not, you know, I relied much on what they are telling me, and I think they even said it is possible for the commission to verify that, maybe by going back to Director Nandule's and find out exactly the status quo as it stands right now. But further than that, I personally found it very difficult to talk to this, but the long and short of it is that my department responded to Director Nandule with an email in which they were talking to their language. I'm not conversant with their administrative language in that space, and these things are, of course, functions that are, as we speak currently, performed within the environment of Director Nandule. So I'm not hands-on when it comes to that, but from my office, right, I must put it on record before the commission that invoices are submitted for further handling, of which further handling would include creation of purchase requisitions and POs going forward. But let me stop at that. I think I've explained based on
Director
information.
Malatje, we know even from the 2024 invoices that at some point on the 26th of February 2025, those invoices came to you and you stamped and signed them. And that was around the time when there was a dispute about non-payment of Gubis's 2024 invoices. So we do know from the evidence before us that at least on the 26th of February 2025, those disputed invoices came to you and you signed them.
Commissioner, if they came to me and I signed them, right? I don't think I signed them to close the query, right? By then, I'm not sure if that query was already in place. By the way, the commissioner must please understand that part of my responsibility, right, is to make sure that as and when invoices are submitted, right, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I process them further to be handled at a later stage. So if those specific invoices, right, were brought to my office, right, and I've signed them, right, I want it to be on record, right. I did not sign them because I was closing any query, right. I was not aware, right, that there was these invoices that the Director Nandile has got an issue with.
Are you saying you just signed without verifying whether these services were properly procured with this explanation?
No, I'm not saying that, Commissioner. Every invoice that gets submitted to my office, right, we verify. And part of verification includes we want to make sure that sites allocated, sites for which the invoice is talking to, right, are sites that are allocated to the company, right? The risk mitigation process, because if I was just to sign, any service provider would take advantage that he has got a contract with the city and he can put even sites that are not part of his or her allocation for me to sign. So we verify before we submit.
I will ask the evidence leaders to put it up while you continue with your testimony. We may come back to it. It's on page 144 of file 3 of that Umashi Dlamini. Remember that Gubis invoice that was shared between Dlamini and Nkosi, and it has Director Malatje's signature and a stamp on the 26th of February 2025. So if it is available nearby, they can put it up on the screen. But for now, if Commissioner Balwa is finished with her question, then you can continue with what you were dealing with.
Let me just finish off my question. If you say you verify before you sign off, would you not then have picked up, or should you not have picked up that these services or the deployment was done by somebody who, in your previous evidence, you said didn't have authority? We know that Piri signed deployment letters, and your testimony previously was you never, firstly you said he's junior, he doesn't have the authority to do that, and you never gave him that authority. Your verification of invoices before you approve, would you not have picked that up?
I should mention that maybe when we talk signing of invoices, let us not confuse invoices for the main contract with invoices for ad hoc services, right? Let us not. So, if there are invoices for the main contract, right, verification is very easy. By the way, here we're talking about invoices in respect of sites, which sites were allocated to Kubis 85.
My question is about ad hoc services.
Okay.
That's a discussion we had with Mr. Piri, where he signed all those deployment letters authorizing Gubis and I think Makhaladi or somebody and Triotic. But I'm happy to limit it to Gubis because that's the company that became the subject of much discussion. So we know that Piri signed those deployment letters. Now, if you are responsible for signing off on invoices that come in, and you can say that you didn't sign them if you did not, but if you did sign invoices relating to those ad hoc services, my question is, would you not have picked up that, in fact, the person who authorized these services did not have the authority to do that?
Normally, Commissioner, this is how it works. In many instances, all ad hoc services which have been handled properly, as I explained earlier on, right? Normally, those invoices would not even end up with me having to sign. The mere fact that everything would have been done according to the book, right? At the end of the day, the service provider concerned would submit such invoices to the department concerned, not me, right? But the catch with Kubis, Mogalagadi, and Triotic, Kubis was instructed by the Department of Water and Sanitation. Mogalagadi and Triotic Services were instructed by the Office of the Chief of Police, in bracket, Mr. Police, right? That is why such invoices, right, Mogalagadi and Triotic, such invoices were supposed to be signed by me, because by virtue of the executive having instructed the deployment thereof, right? I had no, but those invoices had to be paid from my vote, the watchman services, right? Now, with the Gubis ones, right, since the matter, the matter was receiving attention from the executive, right? There was a point where a decision, if I understand the situation very well, or remember the situation very well, there was a point where the reason for them to be discussed at that level, right, was to make sure that at the end of the day, instead of having them serviced from the Department of Water and Sanitation, right, the executive would take a decision, right, get that money transferred into watchman vote account, and for those services to be paid. So, with me having signed them, after the executive has decided and got the money, right, I don't think there was anything wrong with that, because already the executive has taken a decision Already the executive, the chief of police, has requested for the 91 million, right? The CFO supported and the city manager approved. So the money got into my vote in order to, what you call the process. I mean, in order to, what you call the process, yes.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you. Director Malatje, I think what Commissioner Mali was getting at is what your answer was at your previous appearance, and your answer was to accept or concede that some of the invoices you signed without verifying that the services were rendered. That was your answer when you appeared, and you accepted that possibility, and the fact that as a result, payments would have been made on the basis of your signature. You recall that?
Yes, let me remind the Commission of what I have said. The question had something to do with, is there a possibility that some invoices could be signed without verification being done insofar as performance and what have you of services concerned? I said that is a possibility. The reason being, we have more than 500 sites, right, for which my monitoring team of less than 10 people, right, is deployed. Chances of them not covering the scope, right, might result with, come the end of the month, right, they were unable to come at site number 457, right? But it's month end, and we invoices are submitted. So that possibility is there.
So in short, you accept the correctness of what Mrs. Kakane is saying?
Yes, no. I agree.
Right. That should be enough.
Yes,
Mrs.
that's enough.
Kakane.
That's enough. Chair, and I think it addressed my concern was obviously you were saying that the discussions were happening at a higher level than you were involved, but I wanted to just highlight that your level is director, and you had that responsibility to ensure that services that are rendered are actually rendered. As a director, that's one of your jobs, or your level of accountability.
I agree. Let me say this, Commissioner. My level as a director, all right, dictates, right, whatever you are saying about, but let the Commission not lose sight of the fact that, I've spoken at length about staffing problems. I've spoken at length, about many other shortcomings. Now, I think it is obvious that if I was treated accordingly, right, I should have participated. Somebody should have invited me to participate, right, in these executive meetings. But let me not proceed with this. But I was never invited to participate. And at the end, whatever the executive decides upon, I accept. Hence,
Mrs. Kakan, perhaps